All right. Hey, so this Jarvie show is going to be a very special one. No, not because I got a haircut, though that does make it even more special. It's because I have officially been on the road for 1 year, living on the road here in the Airstream. You want some pictures to prove it? Let's start you off with the pictures. Usually we do a photo story that tells like the story behind a picture. But today, the story is about how I've been on the road for a year, complete with some milestones and just other interesting things, some stats, some numbers of things like how many pictures did I take, stuff like that, how many miles. But let's look at some pictures, shall we? Okay, so the first picture was the very first day. And I'm going to go through these fast, right? I just kind of want to give you a little bit of an inkling of what this trip was all about. Then there was a church and more churches. Beginning off, I just was like, okay, how's this all going to go? I'm photographing religious buildings in all 50 states. Oh, but what about my Airstream? A picture of Airstream with the Milky Way. It's hard to believe that was almost 1 year ago. Those first few days were so vivid, still in my memory. Some in the middle, maybe I've kind of forgotten a lot of because I haven't gone over those pictures, but I've gone over all the pictures from the beginning. Man, this was almost a year ago too, when I went to this church. It was all lit up by lightning. The story behind that is just awesome. I put it into, I've written about it, but I need to do a photo story about it. So you guys watching this video, and maybe you're new to these videos, let me know which pictures you want to hear the story about. And now I don't just show the one picture, I show all the stuff that kind of leads up and makes that picture possible. All the coincidences, all the things that I did, the decisions, and other instances and pictures that kind of led up to it. This was a cool experience. And that same evening, I got to shoot this one. And then, I ran over to Maine, and then I went over to New York City. So here's New York City, and met friends there. Another New York City. And there's just so many things along the way. People, buildings. I went to Nauvoo. There was lots of things. Shall we go through it kind of quickly? Yeah, I think we should. Here's some Amish country. Let's throw some in here. Boom, bada boom, bada boom. My trip has been a mixture, a lot of buildings, obviously. That's the book that will come out next year, 2015, Faith in America, Religious Buildings of United States. But together with that, I did a lot of LDS temples, and that was the reason that I was going out onto the road originally, and then I made it a much bigger project. But I have since a year, since then, finished the LDS temple books. It is headed to the printer, and you can already pre-order that book. You can pre-order the Faith in America book. It will take a little bit of time to get okay, it's going to take a lot of time to get sorted through all these pictures. And in the meantime, I'll keep on doing some of these videos and sharing stories of these buildings, just all sorts of stuff. I also did some weddings while I was out there, so I get to throw here in a couple of weddings. But back to pictures of the church buildings. More and more and more and more. Awesome church buildings and people that I met and experiences. I went to Disney World to get a couple, because that was around Christmas. It was like my little Christmas vacation. So all sorts of cool things happening. Countryside churches, city churches, landscapes, lots of landscapes. I've actually edited quite a few of the landscapes more than the buildings. I mean, the buildings, I just have so many that it's going to be hard. I know, I've got to go through quite a few. All right, maybe back to me. Maybe as I discuss the route that I took, because that's a popular question, I will continue to put up some pictures. Shall we do that? Maybe? Okay, so this is the route. I left September 29th, 2013. It has now been a year. When I left, I went straight up to Wyoming, and then I kind of went straight over. I was trying to hit Maine real quick. However, it took me 14 days to get to Maine because I stopped a lot and I took a lot of pictures. And it's hard as one person. And the shortened days. You're starting not until 7 o'clock because that's when it gets bright. And then you go to bed so early because it's already dark by 7 or by 6 or, you know, as the time went on, it started to get dark by 5 eventually. So my days were shortened, was able to do less driving. And then in the East Coast, they're so condensed with stuff that it became hard. In Boston, I had a problem with my tooth, like an abscess, and it hurt like the dickens. So I was only there in Boston one day, and I had to leave. So that's why I'm headed back to Boston as we speak to get some more stuff that I may have missed. But I went down to D.C. because I found a dentist, got all 4 wisdom teeth pulled. I was in D.C. quite a while, but I was able to do a couple of little trips down the Blue Ridge Parkway and up into the Amish country and over into D.C. and then a little bit more of Virginia. And then I took one big trip. I said, well, I've got a flight out of D.C., so I'm going to go down into North Carolina, come back through like West Virginia, Tennessee, stuff like that. Back to D.C., did a wedding anguilla because I did raise from a Kickstarter $70,000. However, I knew it was going to cost $100 to $110, so I had to raise the rest myself, and I did that with 5, 6 weddings and a little bit of money here and there from other things and some money saved up. Which, you know, if you go and buy books, that helps repay what I have invested into that. And you guys get a book or a calendar or any sort of thing. Patreon will even help me. No, that's just for the stuff going forward, I guess. All right, so after that, I came back to D.C. and went all the way down to Florida. Came up, did a wedding in South Carolina. I was in Key West for Christmas. Okay, then after that, I stayed south to avoid the severe cold. If you guys remember, in the United States, they had some really cold streaks. It got down to 20 in Charleston, South Carolina, which is a big deal. And then 31 degrees in New Orleans, which is a big deal for them. Now, I was happy that I stayed away from the places where it was like negative 20. And I kept going, and I finally made it into like Arizona. And then a quick little trip down over into like Joshua Tree, Salton Sea in California. And at that time, I wanted to go into the Midwest. However, I had to redo my registration on my car, do a few meetings, and so I went back to Utah for the first time in 6 months that I had left. Did some stuff there, and then I did the Midwest. So I went all the way over into like Kansas and then Missouri, and then I went all the way as far east that time into Pittsburgh and did a little Pennsylvania since I had done that yet. And came up into like Cleveland and then over into Michigan, up into Minnesota, that sort of, you know, I did Chicago for a few days, then Minnesota, then North Dakota, and then back down into like Colorado and Utah. After that, I did a few photo shoots there, and then California, the whole thing from north to south, and then I came back to Utah. So I always kind of like circled around back into Utah, did some meetings, did another photo shoot, met up with friends, took some time to do some editing, and then I did the Northwest. So starting with, I did a wedding in San Jose, and then went up north. No, that was the previous trip. So at this time, I did Boise, and then over and visited my family. So, I mean, is this kind of interesting? We're showing a lot of pictures. At that point, I did Oregon, Washington, did a flight up into Alaska for a couple days, came back, went to Utah, flew to do a wedding in Houston, and then over to Hawaii for a couple weeks. And now we're getting pretty close. This was just like a month or so ago. I took a month off. No, let's see what it was. I took 2 weeks off the Faith America project to go to England to do a wedding and up into Scotland to do some more fun stuff. Man, lots of things to show. I went to the oldest church in the United States. I've been to the big ones. I've been to small countryside churches. It's been pretty awesome. Now, the cool part, milestones. Big numbers, right? Okay, let me look at my list over here. I have been living in my Airstream 11 months. Yes, it's been 12 months, but I did do a flight to Hawaii, Alaska, England. So let's say 11 months. 11 months in the Airstream, and whenever I was near the Airstream, so when I flew somewhere else, that didn't count, but whenever I was near the Airstream, I always slept on my bed. Even though I said, oh, you can come in and sleep on our bed, it's great. And I'm like, my bed is amazing. I bought it at the bed store. It's the nicest, softest, it's the best bed I've ever been in. And it's home. I'm in my home. You guys like to sleep in your own home? I think some people just figured that, oh, that's just an Airstream. That's a trailer. But no, this is home. And it feels like home. And I could sit down at my computer here. And it was great. Yeah. So, other big milestone, 12 months on the road with no fast food. Yeah, I know. Pretty amazing. I know a lot of people don't eat fast food, but it's harder when you're living on the road, when you're on a road trip to not eat fast food. I do have a fridge. That helps. And I've met up with lots of people, so whenever I met up with people, I usually ate with them. So that was great. And then, sandwiches, stuff like that. I did eat a lot of Subway, which I didn't count. I don't count Subway as fast food. You guys may. I don't. And then I did. So no fast food and also no soda. So what would be more difficult for you? No fast food for a year on the road or no soda for a year on the road? Okay. And I know plenty of people that don't do either, but that is a big deal for me and a lot of other people. Okay, so every day in the Airstream, and I finally, cumulative, hit all 50 states in my lifetime. Now, during this year, I only hit 48, 47, 48. I'm headed back to get the other 3, so during the project, I will be able to say I hit all 50. There you go. So, what else did I do? I finally hit 100,000 miles on my vehicle, the Toyota Venza, which towed, and from this trip, that was about 41,000 miles towing the Airstream. So, pretty impressed with this little vehicle. I didn't know if it was going to do it, but I didn't have any other option. I had this vehicle, and I didn't have enough, I couldn't buy another vehicle. So, this was it. I have a nice V6 vehicle, towed great. And then when I was in England, I saw other vehicles that were so much smaller than mine, towing trailers so much bigger than mine. And I was like, oh, I guess it's not that impressive. But they're probably all super lightweight. I have a lot of batteries in here. I have a computer. I have all of my clothes. Like, I have a full wardrobe. All the clothes that I used to wear are all here. I mean, I got rid of a few outfits. I was like, I don't need to have everything. But it's all here. I never parked at an RV park. Okay, so when I was in Moab, my friend, we were doing another Faith in America project. He insisted on doing an RV park, so I've done that like once or twice, but not during really the project. Never did it, and I never really paid for it. He's like, well, I'll pay for it if we stay here. I was like, okay, we can plug in, and Moab gets hot. And I was able to use the AC. And I didn't know anyone in Moab, which is weird, because that's Utah, and I should know people there. I need to get to know people in Moab, Utah. All right, so what's next? I always parked in front of people's houses. I did a lot of Walmart parking lot, especially when I was on the go and I didn't have to dump the trailer and then take the car into a city. But whenever I needed to go into a city, I always tried to find a place to park the trailer and then leave it there while I just drove the car and did my buildings that I needed to photograph. I parked a lot of Walmart, some other random places. I did a couple of national parks, Yosemite, Everglades, Joshua Tree, and I stayed there for a few days at each of those And I did pay for parking at in those situations. But pretty good. I know a lot of people that are in our trailers and RVs that have done nothing but trailer parks. But we're trying to save a little bit of money, and I have great electricity. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let's try to move this over here. My Goal Zero system here. The big, small one, and there's another one down there. You can see the light. But I have... Oh, there we go. Back. Okay, Goal Zero was a great sponsor because I was able to have electricity for my computers when I was not plugged into a house. And even sometimes I would run the computers when I was just plugged into Goal Zero. And it doesn't last infinitely long, like being plugged into a house, but it's enough to get some stuff done. And if I was just on a laptop, I mean, all I would have ever needed was the Goal Zero. And I've got solar panels up top, thanks to them. It's been pretty awesome, and I'm thankful for their support, and I hope that I get some cool pictures that they can use. All right. What else did I accomplish? Pictures. How many pictures do you think I did? I don't know if I want to tell you. I think I want to leave that up to the imagination. I will give you a hint. I did have, let's see here. I filled up a lot of these Western Digital 2 terabyte drives. I think I've used 6 of them with another 6 as backup drives that I've left at friends' houses in like Utah and stuff like that, so that they're safe and all my pictures are safe. However, that may be a little deceiving because 2 terabyte drives don't always equal 2 terabytes. It's confusing. And also, there's a lot of video footage from when I took my phone and I would film myself. Hello, this is Scott Jarvie. And so that's a lot of video footage and a lot of time-lapse on the car of GoPros taking pictures every 5-10 seconds. So how many pictures do you think I took? Because I did look into it, and I think I have a good number. I've rounded it out to the nearest thousandth. So how many pictures? All right, I don't know what. I should give you a prize, a gold star or something else. Tell me what your prize is. All right, so I did complete one book, the temple book of American Temples is what it's called. American Temples of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is done. It's only 70 buildings. Compare that to the thousands of buildings I did for the Faith in America, which I have to narrow them down and decide. And there's so much more editing involved with that. So I'll be spending a month or two of just kind of editing and doing all that stuff. Other things that I did, I filmed my whole trip, like I was saying, with my camera every day that I was off doing something. So if it was an edit day, probably didn't film so much. However, I only uploaded the first 25 days and combined pictures, and that's what I think makes them interesting is I put pictures in with them. So, like I'm putting pictures in with this video. I did all the days, but the first 25 I have uploaded to YouTube. However, I started to realize I don't know if I'm going to get to all 50 states in time, so something had to give. And it was the time spent editing those videos. As I'm here right now in Idaho, in the parking, in the driveway of my friend Shay Carl, and he does a video every day, and he says 4 or 5 hours, 4 hours or so is what he sets aside, 4 or 5 hours. That would have been just way too much. Making sure that I was plugged in for 4 or 5 hours every day, or my batteries were fully charged, but also the 4 or 5 hours that I needed to drive to take pictures. It was go, go, go. So that gets us to some of the questions. Was it fun? Was the year on the road a fun experience? I wouldn't put it that way. What I say is, was it a worthwhile experience? Was it good? Was I glad that I did it? Would I do it again? Yes. All those things, yes. Fun, excitement. Yay, how much fun this is. You guys are missing out. No, it wasn't that. I don't think anyone would have gone with me and go, this is so much fun. It was worthwhile. I got to have a lot of interesting experience. It was character building, getting up at 5 in the morning, doing something that kind of semi-repetitive and going and keeping yourself motivated. That just built a lot of character, I hope, I feel, and it was worthwhile, and I'm glad I did it. And there were lots of fun moments. But overall, it's not one of those things you go, oh, I'm going to go have the time of my life. It is memorable. I will always remember this year on the road. Another question. How did your car handle it? I think we approached that. I even took it up a pass. It was 104 degrees outside, and I took it over a pass. Yes, I stopped once to let it rest, but then, it handled it like a champ. It went up so many other passes. In fact, one of the hardest passes I went up was the first day going out of Salt Lake up towards Park City. That's one of the toughest passes in the nation because it's steep and really long. I can go up steep stuff, but it starts to climb and get a little warmer, and so hopefully it gets done and you can cool down on the ride back down. What else how was it living in the Airstream? I like it. And so this kind of combines with the next question. Are you going to continue doing it? Yes, I have no reason not to live in the Airstream. I don't have a daily commute, and I'm not going to some job. I like traveling around, and I have people all around the country. I'm going to keep doing it. So that kind of answers your question. Was living in the Airstream all right? It's small. It's definitely smaller. It's pretty small. It allows me to park more places and get around a little easier. However, a little bit bigger would be nice. A little bit bigger, and I could probably invite more people to travel along with me a lot easier. I've had 15 people in this Airstream, just, standing crunched in and stuff like that. I've had 3 people sleeping in the Airstream, a couple on the queen size bed, one on the makeshift bed here with the camping mat. Usually that was me, because I was like, you guys take the nice bed, see how awesome it is. What were your favorite places? I really appreciated Vermont, because I was there during fall and it was beautiful. I loved Charleston, South Carolina. I thought that city was awesome, and there's so much landscape around it. You had the beach, you had swamps, you had these cool lakes, just all sorts of cool things. So I love Charleston, South Carolina. Other really cool places. Well, my favorite state remains Utah, but I really gained an appreciation for Oregon. Man, that is a beautiful state, and I'd lived there for a couple years before I was a photographer. Washington was also great. I love the West Coast, but I'm headed back now to the East Coast because I really, I want to get a little bit more of that. There's so many buildings over there too. And then when I come back after the project, I'll probably stick around in the West Coast a little bit more than the East Coast. Though maybe I'll take some trips out east here and there from time to time. But what were your favorite buildings? Okay, I love the buildings in North Dakota. These small, white, so prototypical, just beautiful Lutheran churches in the countryside. And in the countryside made it easier for me to take pictures. So, you could stand at these buildings, these Lutheran churches, and not even see another, a house anywhere near. You're like, what is it doing here? But it was a lot of fun. And, yeah, I liked it. Other than that, there's so many beautiful Catholic churches that towards the end I started to say, okay, I have plenty, more than enough Catholic churches. I've got to cool it. If I find another church, I'm gonna have to take precedence and try to get those. But I still got a lot of those other churches. The LDS temples were my favorite. They're, kind of part of who I am. My heart is in it so much, and I took a lot of pictures of those. Though there's only 70 of those buildings compared to the thousands of other buildings I took pictures of. All right. So another question. Keep on traveling? Yes, I have some plans. You know, what's going on next? Well, I've got some huge projects that I want to discuss in future episodes of this JARVIE show, which is a 25-minute show that happens a few times a week. And I'm going to discuss it with you guys. And one of the big things that I'm doing now, as of this week, is Patreon. Patreon.com. That's /JARVIE. You know my last name. Patreon.com/JARVIE. And that's where you should go in and support the artist. Any artist. There's lots of artists on there. I'm asking for your support because I can do these really cool projects. I want to do things like get those vlogs edited. But they don't really make me money. So it's hard to spend all that time editing those vlogs when I can be doing these other things, but I want to do these vlogs. My heart, I want to do it. And I know that there's several hundred people that were watching those vlogs, so if those guys want to see those vlogs, sign up on Patreon, give like $1 or $2 or $3 or $5 a month, and send me a message saying, you know what, I'm supporting you, I really want to see those vlogs. I want to know who's wanting to see those vlogs. And we'll continue to do these JARVIE shows because they're like a brain dump, and I like it. My brain needs to take a dump. Okay, moving on. Patreon is what's going to kind of be a foundation to help me do these cool projects. Like here I am photographing a YouTuber, and I want to do some more. Shay was saying, you got to go and photograph some of these other YouTube people that have good followings, like just really solid followings, but maybe wouldn't have a lot of money to do photo shoots. Well, I'll go and do photo shoots for them. There's some other things I really want to do. The photo stories here on this video and on the blog. Those are some things that I know people are really digging, and that with the support of Patreon I can do. But bigger things as well, like these cool YouTube productions, these videos, these like viral-esque videos that I'm so stoked about. I've filmed one already, but we're going to wait till we get 2 or 3 before we start releasing them. Maybe I'll get it up soon for you guys to see. But they're big productions, and they take getting a video team together. We have plans on how to morph it into a good self-sustaining business, but we need some of your support on Patreon, and I'll use my money and support getting these videos done. But they're going to be a lot of fun. If you believe in what I'm doing, is I guess what I'm saying, the rewards that I'm offering are worth more than what you're paying in. And you're becoming a patron of an artist. So if you like that concept. All right. Remember to make your guess for how many pictures you think I've done in the last year. Heck, if you want to tell us how many pictures you've taken in the last year, I'd love to know. I sincerely would love to know. You guys are like my community here, the people that I'm really interacting with, and I want to get to know a lot of you. Tell me, how many pictures you're taking. Even if you're not a photographer, just maybe you can find out on your cell phone, see how many pictures you've taken. It'd be so interesting to know. And I guess tell you, I'm not a photographer, or I'm a semi-professional, or I'm just an amateur photographer. I got a DSLR, and I've taken 5,000, or I've taken 10,000 over the course of the last year. All right. And the final question is, how did your faith grow? Man, I really want to do I should do another episode on this question alone, of the amazing stories, faith-promoting stories that I've had over the last year. The times that I've spent in the vehicle listening to uplifting and faith-promoting talks by different people. The story of the project itself is faith-promoting. I really am glad that I'm doing this project, It's been good for the soul, for my faith in Christ, my faith in God's plan, the role of His community, like the role of these faith-promoting buildings in my own particular faith, the temples and the people around the country, and the other principles that support faith have been great experiences. Yeah, we're already at 30 minutes. Definitely want to talk more about that. I have ideas of maybe doing like a book tour, especially with maybe a first book tour with the temple book, but still being able to talk about faith in America in general. And if it's to an LDS audience, put in a section of the temples. But if it's not, then that's fine. Because I want to tell some of these stories, and I want to share that's what I'm doing with the book, is I'm sharing a vision of these buildings and what they mean to different people, and just what they look like. Share that vision of our country. And it's so diverse. There's so many different areas of this country. It's so big. It's immense. If one thing I've learned on this trip is how big this world is, how big this country is, how big every one of these, not every one of these states, but so many of these states are. Did you know you can fit everyone in the United States into Texas and they'd all get a ½ acre of land? That's man, woman, and child. Maybe dogs. No, not dogs. All right. It's a big place. There's so much empty space. Places to grow, set up new shops. I don't know. Places to retire. Yeah. It's a big world. And that's a recap. That's a recap of 2013 and 14, a year on the road. Thanks again to Goal Zero, to f-stop camera bags. I've started to use Sigma now. I mean, they're not necessarily a sponsor, but I'm really thankful to them. The big sponsor for this is a company called Reservation Counter, reservationcounter.com. So if you are looking for a place to book hotels or tickets to different things, like tickets to stuff in Las Vegas or hotels, Reservation Counter is one of those options. So, reservationcounter.com if you're looking to book a hotel. So they were great sponsors, and they're not requiring me to say things like this, but I'm so thankful that they made this possible. Backlit Box, the owner of that, helps build part of this Airstream. My friends, thanks to my friends that help me renovate the Airstream. Thanks to my friends that let me stay at their places. So many of them, dozens, if not now, probably just 3, 4, 5 dozen people let me stay at their places. All the people that bought the books, all the people that supported the Kickstarter, all the people that right now are going to jump on and maybe buy a book or support me on Patreon. Thanks to everyone. I'm very thankful for it. I really am. It's been a great experience. It's been tough, hard work, and I've earned every penny of that, though I'm giving back everything as far as books. So no one just gave freebies. Oh, my brother did. Yeah. A couple people, I think. Mainly, I'm giving... Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying now. Now this is the end of the videos where you get to see me rambling and just dumping everything out of my brain so I don't go, I forgot something. Good thing I call this a show and not just a little vlog. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the pictures that I spread in throughout there. And I'll talk to you later. Ask me some questions, we'll answer them next time.